Hello, well, welcome back. My name is Dr. George Mochocki. This is a series we're doing in Principles of Marketing. This is just a supplement, a real quick overview of what we discussed in our lectures or discussion board, and from the publisher utilizing their information and their learning software. Okay, so let's just talk. We already talked about pricing earlier. This is just an additional, and this is more from a marketing perspective. Even though pricing is involved in all different business aspects, this is a principle of marketing class, so let's just focus in how do we utilize pricing. Remember, pricing is part of the 4 P's of marketing: integrated marketing, place, price, promotion, and product. Okay, so we're going to be talking about the price, the second part. So one way of adjusting prices, if you have a high or low price, we talked earlier, is how do I keep the price, because the price is the value that a lot of businesses or customers look at price, and they look at the higher price, they expect a better value, a better product for it. So how do I keep that price, that image for the brand, but still make it affordable by reducing it on certain times as to it gets people to try my product or utilize my product, or to maintain that relationship with them through pricing, because it's still affordable and it's still a good high quality product, protects the brand. So there's different ways of pricing. Let's look at price skimming method again. Now when I'm looking at this, I'm just going to go real quickly on this one, and let me just make this a little bit larger. Make it at I got 150. I'll do it 200. Okay. So if I'm looking at price skimming, sets prices to skim revenue layers of the market. So it's already skimming to pick up products. It's like it's trying to do a major sweep, because the price is right, then people are going to try it. The product quality and image must support the price. Remember, if you have a higher price, you better make sure you have that the product sells itself. It sells itself because people could see the price or service, okay, product or service. Okay, buyers must want the product at that price. There's different products. Remember, when you buy a product, an introduction product, they have to know that step up for them to go for the additional features of the product, or what they perceive as additional value. Okay, so market penetration. Another way of doing this involves setting low prices for new product in order to attract larger product. You see that when a new store comes up or need a new gas station. For the first couple of months, the products are lower than its competitors, and then just to bring them in to say, hey, this store is all right, then the prices will go up, or they'll at least match what the competitors' prices are. But the perception is that you may have more value for whatever reason. And it could be location, it could be the product just a little different color, a lot of different factors involved. But pricing is the one that kind of guides, it's like the rudder, for lack of better words, okay? And then when I look at penetration pricing, Amazon uses penetration pricing for Prime Video, more than 240 international to build customer base and make headway against higher priced Netflix. And Amazon could do that, but Netflix is still there, because remember, Amazon is a jack of all trades, a Jacqueline of all trades, where Netflix is very specific just into the entertainment, streaming, video, and everything else. Remember, Netflix had the DVDs, and they're the ones I think the first ones that actually started with the streaming, and now Amazon's coming in, so they are a leader in that area. Amazon is just catching on. They'll get people, because people already like Amazon as a brand. But Amazon also as a brand, people are realizing, hey, you don't get the best deal from Amazon. There's a lot of stuff in there. And after a while, remember, because they're trying to keep their prices low, and they may be losing some quality, or some of their products that they're selling, and the prices may be higher. We just assume that they're the best prices there. Okay. Now, when I'm looking at the product mix strategy, now on this one here, you have a product line. You're going to look at the optional product pricing, captive product pricing. Sometimes you have the only product there. By product pricing. Let me just open up for those who want to look at it. But I'm not going to go into it. We talked about this. I'm trying to keep this under 20 minutes. Okay. And a lot of them we do. Okay, so I'm looking at this. Okay, so product price takes into account the cost of different products in the line. Remember, we talked about product mix and product line. So a product mix is a variety of different product lines, different vendors, different makes, different colors, but still falls in the same product line. So we look at the pricing mix in there, and then we're looking at how customers evaluate their features, and you look at the competitors' pricing. Very easy to look at one product line over another product line and to see if we are getting the right margin, or if we are priced properly. Optional product pricing takes into account the optional or accessory products along with the main product. And that is, do you want this? Once you have the product, and a lot of times, here's what happens to a lot of people when you look at pricing. I'm already spending $200. What's another $25 and I get these features? But that other $25 is a certain individual. That feature has to be something that gives me some value. If a lot of times I talk about bundling. I use Comcast. I'm bundling all this stuff. Half the programs I don't like, I don't read, but it's part of the bundle. So now I said, let's unbundle it. It has its advantage. Sometimes bundling, we talk about bundling, they put stuff that aren't the best sellers and bundling it just to maintain that for that certain small target market that couldn't be sustainable by itself. Let's not fool anyone on that, okay? Combine several products together. Byproduct pricing sets of products for byproducts in order to make the main products more competitive. Okay, good. Okay, we have that. Okay, so let's go out. Okay, price adjustment. Now this one here, you have the table, and when I look at the table gives everything else, but it basically breaks down to discount pricing, allowancing discounts, and segment pricing. If you take me for finance, I also teach finance, or another instructor in finance. This is one way when I look at finance, how to get people to buy more products and everything else, and because I need to sell my products, and by them buying my products or my services, I'm able to pay for my own expenses, but maybe open up different venues that I would want with that money. So all this makes a big difference. So I'm coming in here. Price adjustment, discounts, allowances, segment pricing. So you break down by different categories, customer segments, product form. Because some people do look at this, a different version of product priced differently, but not according to the cost. Remember, the cost is just an indicator. Even though if you pay for something more, it doesn't mean it costs me more to make it. It's just that the brand or the perception is that it's a better quality product. And it could be just by the texture, what it looks like. Location-based pricing, time-based pricing. I mean, you got to buy it now and in a certain amount. For different segments to be effective, market must be. You have to have a market that you could segment. And when I say segment, it's just not all by different income. Income just gives me a quick, rough idea that the person could afford my prices. The thing I'm looking at is psychological pricing. Why do they think it's important? Is it a brand that's making it important? Is it a product? Is it something about the product? Is it the peer pressure? Is it because other people are looking at it? And that's where the reference comes in. Buyers carry in mind, they refer to when they look for a different product. And a lot of times the stores will put like, here's a generic product and here's the brand label, and you see how the $20 difference was the difference, and you look at the ingredients, look at the main ingredients are the same, but remember what it could be is the base may be different. You may have some allergic reactions to that. Okay, and the promotional pricing is for you to try the pricing, and if I look at promotional, they list it lower is just to get you on it. They're either breaking even, or usually they don't lose any money. They at least break even. If they're losing some money, then they use that as a part of their marketing campaign as one of the expenses on that. Special events, limited time, rebates, and everything else. Geographic pricing depends on the country where they're doing. And a lot of the pricing is when you're looking from a business perspective for shipping free on board. I was going to say free on board. Free on board pricing, geographic strategy, in which goods are placed free on board of the carrier, and the customer picks up on the cost. Uniform pricing is company charges the same price for freight for all customers regardless of location. When they go the same price for freight, and it could be different states, they're not losing money. They're either breaking even because they may have certain other components of that product or service has a higher cost to offset some of that to get their margins up there. But they hopefully are not losing money. If they are, these are promotions to go lower to undercut the competitors or get their foot into a market. You have to seed, plant the seeds before you get a harvest. And then when you get the harvest, you may not have a high yield enough with the seed you planted. So you say, oh, maybe I got to put more ground, different dirt, fertilizer, water, or whatever, or different seed. So it's the same thing that happens when you're looking at different types of pricing, okay? And zone pricing is certain zones. You will two or more zones where customers are given a zone to pay for the same price. You fall in this geographic area, and that all depends on the pricing. On when you're looking at the logistics, depends on where they have the warehouses, where they have the supplies, how close it is to your destination. Okay, and it depends on the carriers they're utilizing. And then they have freight absorption, absorbs all the freight costs in order to get the desired business. So that's a cost I take on. I can write it off on my end for accounting. There's something else when you take accounting and finance, but that's another thing with the pricing that you have to look at. So it's just not the one price. You have the prices there. There's all these other things that will affect the overall price that the customer or to the business or someone else for the service that you are actually paying for. So you have it all broken down. And you see a lot of time in a lot of the prices. Here's how much the price is, but they don't put the taxes in there. So you say, oh, and I could compare, but then you put the taxes on there. Oh my God, it's so much higher. And I'm looking at the other thing. So some place has to give, or maybe the other area got lower taxes on there. Base point pricing, seller selects a city, and a base point like is Chicago and surrounding suburbs is just one flat fee. Dynamic pricing involves adjusting pricing to meet the characteristics of individuals. Okay. And if I'm looking at this one and look at dynamic, he's looking at something here, he's just taking a picture, and he's basically a lot of my iPhone will check the different prices at the store, see if I got the best price. Okay, international pricing, individual customer situation, must charge a pricing strategy from country to country. Remember, you're in the host country, you have to follow the rules with the political, the environment, the social, the culture. All that is an effect on how much I'm going to price and what's acceptable. What I price in the U.S. may be different than what I'm pricing in Mexico or in Vietnam or Colombia or China, even, for lack of better words. Excuse me. Okay, so we got that. Well, how many more are we? Almost 10. Okay, now what changes prices? Initiating a price change. Remember, when you're doing a price change, usually prices cuts are due to excessive capacity, increased market share. I have to get rid of the product, and there's more competitors. Remember when we talked about the product life cycle. As the product's going to the growth, that's okay, so I'm changing prices going up because people want it, there's more demand for it. I could do the demand and supply intersection on there. There's the market price that both the customer's happy and the manufacturer. And then I go maturity, I'm flatten out and in the life cycle, and I price a little bit different. Then I go in decline. I either stay it or improve the product, or I just try to get rid of it. So my pricing will be offset. I may not make as much profit, but I'm still making some profit on that. Okay, and the price increase due to occurred due to lack of supply, increased demand, cost of inflation, and then buyers' reaction to prices. If I increase the prices, it's odd products hard to get around the holidays now. Certain product is something that everyone wants to get their hand on, or people can say they're raising the prices because they're greedy. We're suffering and they're greedy. So remember, the psychology, you have to look at pricing. People look at pricing different. You have to look at the market. Could they afford it? You're looking at the disposable income. How are you going to get that disposable income from my competitor or for another product, another service or something, but for them to select my product. And price cut. New models will be available. Models are not selling well. Quality issues. Why are they reducing something on that? Okay, competitors' reaction to prices. When I raise my prices, lower my prices, they could follow suit. If I'm lowering it, is the price cut permanent or temporary? Is this like penetration pricing they're doing? Is it a competition? Why did a competitor change the price? I have to think, what's going on here? Do they know something I don't know? Is the company trying to grab the market? Is the company doing poorly and trying to increase sales? Is a signal decrease industry? Okay, and then they had a pretty good figure in the book, and I'm going to go over. We discussed it in our class. And responding to price changes on this, reduce price to match the competition, maintain the price, by raising perceived value through communication. I just tell people, here's why it's costing me more. You have personal service. You don't have AI talking to you. We have actual people talking to you. It's made in the U.S. You got to pay a little bit higher. It's done through a craftsman. It's not done through a manufacturer. Whatever the rationale is, people are willing to pay that extra cost, but you have to remind them why they're paying that. Don't assume that they know why the extra cost is. You want to start, remember, marketing and everything else is planting seed. Boop. And then later on an ant, water. Planting seed, water, just like a farmer, and then it grows, and eventually you have the narrative where they see your product and the price, and it makes sense. And he said, "Now here's what I'm getting. I could list all the values I have on that." Okay, all right. And now the other thing. Now this one's on public pricing is, and it had a good chart. I just go with this price fixing legislation. It's just laws to protect you, so you're not being taken advantage. Requires sellers set prices without talking to competitor. There was a big thing with the milk industry that they talked. That's why the prices of milk was going on. You're doing it. That's basically colluding with your competition, and you're fixing the prices, and that's against the law because there's no free market. We live in a free market, so prices is the one that competition has as a leverage for you to come and buy my product versus somebody else's. But I have to market it. I have to let them know why my price is higher or why it's lower or what I'm doing. Okay? But then they have predatory pricing, prohibits selling below the cost, the attention of publishing a competitor. And that's very touchy, very hard to find out because you look at penetration, promotion. Hey, I'm a big company. I could charge less. I don't have the overhead. But if they could find that there's some collusion or there's something out there that you're doing it just to get rid of them. Now, that's what happened when we talked earlier with dumping, when you took me for a global. Dumping is basically another country lowering the prices so low, and China was noted for doing that. Lower the prices so low that our industry can't compete with them because the government is subsidizing them, like in the steel industry. And eventually we couldn't maintain steel, and then as the steel industry just fades away, now you're the only competitor in town, but global is other places, but you're the largest one, and your prices are lower. You can start raising the prices, and you have no place else to go because it's a capital investment that's very expensive for someone just to come up and start it up right away. All right. And then pricing across all channels. And then this one is just different acts. Price discrimination, not allowed. If the seller prefers the cost differ from selling from different retailers, manufacturers, different qualities, the same products at different retailers. So you got to be careful. A lot of times, a lot of the stores will say, "Hey, we'll match your price," but it has to be almost the same SKU numbers or the same product. Because it's a little bit. See, and stores aren't that naive, so they change their product a little different. I got a little different component. It looks a little bit different in here. It's not made by the same one. It's not exactly like for like. So you don't get it for the competitor's price. A lot of people, some people do look at it, but a lot of people just were like sheep, for lack of better words. I'm a marketer. I'm just telling you on the other side. People are very comfortable. Okay? All right. So that's all we have on the pricing. This is just a supplemental to what we've done earlier in the full pricing when we talked about the different pricing in a product life cycle. This is just additional stuff. And again, remember, you take accounting, you find out about all these trade discounts. You take other classes in finance, you see how businesses utilize pricing to move the product. But it's also one of the major components of the 4Ps, or the integrated marketing campaign, is pricing. Pricing for a consumer tells them a lot of it gives them a lot of information about quality, everything else, value. Pricing for the business to business, to looking as long as you meet my specification and my quality that I'm looking, because your price is a component to my. If I got a low end price, I expect to get a low end product in there. I'm not going to pay higher than what the overall product I'm making. If I have a higher end price, I will pay the higher cost, because one little thing they'll mess up will offset the product overall. They don't. Oh, it's the plug doesn't work. Everything else is good, but if the plug doesn't work, the equipment doesn't work. All of a sudden, I'm starting to think, hey, I spent all this money and they couldn't afford a plug that actually works, that falls apart. I'm just making just something for you to think about. So when I look at pricing, this is what is in the consumer's mind, and it has all these other things. The higher price, I expect more value. You have to let them know what their value is. That's what the marketing, integrated marketing says. Here's why our prices are better, or higher, or lower, or whatever. So the consumer could make their own determination on that. We kind of guide them a lot more than they think. Okay, so I'm going in here, and I'm going to just expand it, and I'm finished. So everything you needed to know about pricing, and remember, just additional, read the book, take the concept maps, listen to my other videos, listen to the publisher's video, look around, start looking at pricing, and then you'll be doing pretty good. And remember, when I do these are real short. This one's 20 minutes longer than I wanted, but it's an important factor. So again, my name is Dr. George Mochocki, and I hope this was beneficial for you. Bye.